Are you ready for true tales from a real undertaker? Everything from strange situations to crazy paranormal experiences. For over 20 years, Mark Tovson was a funeral director and embalmer working everywhere from California to Japan. Get set to hear about his hauntingly crazy adventures.
Welcome to Story Times with the Undertaker. I'm Mark Tovson. For 20 years, I worked in the funeral business. Uh, in this channel, I am going to discuss the good and bad parts of it. Uh, these stories will all be true. They will include anything from funny to scary to paranormal to just strange situations. But I'm hoping to let people know how the business is, and if you're interested in getting into it, what you're getting yourself into. Uh, I'm going to go back a little bit past there. When I was younger, I joined a stunt group, learning how to do stunts uh, when I was 13 years old, and we ended up working in shows like Little House on the Prairie, Father Murphy. Uh, David Carradine had me steal some beer for him, and he got me a part in a movie called High Noon Part 2, which was really a horrible movie, but it was my start. I did several others, but I also ended up getting a part in Revenge of the Nerds, where I stunt doubled for the fire breather. So everything you see of him after the fire starts is actually me in his clothes. Uh, had Jackie Chan throw an orange at me in Cannonball Run 2. They deleted that part, unfortunately, but at least I got paid. Uh, I also did a movie called The Challenger for Tokyo TV. This was about a Japanese cowboy that came over to learn how to be a better cowboy in Arizona. And of course, I was the racist guy that was shooting at his horse and causing him trouble. But in the end, we became friends, and I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, I was going to be living in Japan eventually in the funeral business. Uh, at that point, I realized I wasn't getting a lot of parts. There wasn't a whole lot of work there. Like an idiot, I decided to go to California. At least in Arizona, I was a fish in a small pond, and there it was a fish in a big sea. So movie parts and acting parts were really hard to get. I took my first job as a Santa Claus in a uh, real ritzy mall called the South Bay Galleria in Redondo Beach. Um, had two little girls in fur coats come up one day, and my manager told me, "Hey, these two girls are going to have more money than you'll ever see in your life. They own the Hilton hotels." Well, it turns out it's Paris and Nikki Hilton, and here's a photo of them on my lap. Uh, that was a really good job. I got paid a lot of money, uh, did some side gigs, so it kept me going for about a year. Uh, Went to Knott's Berry Farm for their stunt show. They were kind of dangerous at the time and got injured. So they put me into the rides department, and it was a cut and pay. I wasn't too happy with that. I wasn't making a lot of money. I saw an ad in the paper wanting mortuary drivers. I thought maybe it was the hearse or the limo because I didn't think I wanted to be in the funeral business. When we were in high school, our science teacher took us to a mortuary, and when the funeral director is explaining how embalming was done, I thought, how could anybody do that? That is just so gross. Well, I found out that this job actually was for the coroner's office, picking up bodies. Uh, I didn't want to seem scared, so they had me do a ride along. After picking up a few people that passed away, either at home or in the hospital, I didn't think it was too bad, so I agreed to go ahead and start working. And I ended up going into training for a month with a gentleman named Jordan who worked there for years and had a lot of experience and taught me a lot. Uh, Most of the calls we did at first were just normal hospital or somebody passed away at home. Nothing too exciting, no unalivings or homicides or whatever. Uh, but probably about the fourth day out, the we got a call to this apartment building, and when we drove up, there was a bunch of police and firemen outside with, I don't know if you've seen them, but they have these big fans, the fire department, and I think they use them to blow smoke out of houses after fires. But they had these fans on with all the doors and windows open, and then they evacuated all the neighbors. Right away, Jordan told me that this was a floater. If you're not familiar with that term, it's used for decomposed bodies. What happens is if somebody drowns and they're underwater and the gases build up in the body due to decomposition, the body will float to the top of the water. So that's why they call them floaters. Well, he said it must be a bad one because they had everything opened up and the fans going. The policemen there were kind of laughing, saying, "I don't envy you. Don't go in there. I wouldn't go in there." Uh, Jordan went in first, and as soon as he walked in, he started gagging, which to me scared me because I thought I was going to probably puke. Uh, Once I got in, the smell was really bad, but I was breathing through my mouth. Uh, I was able to deal with it pretty well. Jordan kept gagging the whole time. The gentleman had passed away under a heating blanket, probably there for about a week. We lowered the gurney to the floor. There's some grips on the gurney that you pull back, spring loaded, and the legs will go fold down. We put a body bag on the gurney. These body bags are supposed to be leak proof, but they're not. Uh, we picked the gentleman up with his sheets because there was so much fluid, and we put him and the sheets in the bag and zipped it up. And then, of course, we put the safety straps on and lifted the gurney and put him in the back of the station wagon. Well, driving to the medical examiners, I noticed the smell was getting worse. I looked back and I could see that the bag was leaking fluid all over the back of the car. We had a board there that the gurneys would sit on, and they were carpeted. And so this fluid was leaking on that. Well, when we got there, we, of course, took him out and put him onto one of the tables, uh, logged him in, tagged him, everything like that. And then we started trying to clean out the car. Well, the smell was horrendous, and everything we used Lysol, bleach, everything we could find. We tried spraying air freshener, anything, but nothing would get rid of the smell. So we ended up having to throw away the board and replacing it. And even then, the car was never the same. It always smelled. But luckily for me, I didn't have to use that. They gave me this really cool brand new Chevy Safari van with mag wheels and spotlight, and of course the red and yellow flashing lights for emergencies. And I began I began my career in the funeral business doing that. Uh, Now this is just the first episode. I will tell you some more stories. These are all true. And like I said, they're going to vary from being just strange situations to maybe paranormal. There's funny ones even. Uh, and as I go along, I'm hoping to maybe take you out to some places where I worked and show you around. But I guarantee you that everything will get better from this point on because this is my first, and I know this is probably horrible, but I will improve as this goes on. I promise you that. So hopefully you can at least give me a thumbs up. If you subscribe, that would be wonderful. But, check in, and I'm sure that the next story is going to be much more exciting. I know it is. It's going to be uh, about me trying to stay under the radar on TV and stuff, and that just didn't happen. So stay tuned, check in. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you.